What's up, everybody? Time for another edition of What the Huck. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Got some feedback on my promo. I got no. Well, anyway, we roll. That's technology. You never know what's going to happen. Right. Nothing is 100% in this world. So I'm Daryl Huckabee, another edition of What the Huck. Huck, my nickname, short for Huckabee, but it's also an acronym: hope, understanding, community, culture in this case, and knowledge. Excited to have my sister, Ife Michelle Garden joining me today, talking about a great event, third annual Elm City Lit Fest happening this weekend in New Haven. What's the date for that?
Saturday, October 22nd, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Stetson Library and in the plaza, and vendors will be in the Q House.
Stetson Library, Q House is 197 Dixwell Avenue, right in the heart, right outside of downtown New Haven. But the heart of the culture of New Haven, that was back in the day, the Black Wall Street of New Haven when our parents were growing up.
That's right.
I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm hosting the event, or certain portions of the event, I should say. So let's go back, Michelle. And, people call you Ife. I still, because we've known each other since I was kids, I just naturally, Michelle just rolls off of my tongue. Okay. So how did you begin this? Because you founded this organization 3 years ago, and this is the third annual event. So how did this all come about? Let's give some historical perspective.
Okay. So back in 2018, I returned to New Haven after living in New York for about 10 years. And because previously in living in New Haven, I had worked for most of the arts organizations and as well as social service organizations. And when I got back, because of my love of literature and wanting to get into the arts again and start something up, I said, well, let me do a lit fest, because I like literature and Black literature, and we all I feel like there's not enough awareness of literature of the African diaspora for everyone. And while I lived, and even before I lived in New York, when I lived here, I would go to the Brooklyn Book Festival, Harlem Book Festival, the Queens, and even Boston Book Festival a couple of times, and then started doing some research. I volunteered at the Harlem and the Brooklyn Book Festival while I lived in New York, so I got to see background things of how things are run and programming and things like that. So I just was like, let me think of something for me to do and increase awareness for everyone in this community and create this festival. And while the momentum just built, Daryl. It was just remarkable how people were so receptive to it. Now, there were a few people that were like, why a Black book festival? Why just the African diaspora? Because I'm also a literacy volunteer and on the board for Literacy Volunteers of Greater New Haven. So I wanted to also do something to enhance literacy within our community, right? And sometimes people read whatever, the newspaper, comic books, graphic, not whatever you read. I wanted to be able to read, and I wanted to expose awareness around the significance of the literature and culture and stories of African American culture to everyone.
Now, knowing you since we were kids, you've been culturally lit, no pun intended, right?
Yes.
For a long time. You've been into culture, the Black diaspora, for a long time. And I think it's really, not a coincidence, but, I think of things in divine intervention, right? Where we now have this, cancel culture kind of thing going on. who knew, that was going to be a thing when you got started and when you were thinking about this, Elm City Lit Fest, the whole cultural thing in your head. So I'm glad that we or you and I'm, able to be a part of it to bring awareness to our community when people are trying to suppress it.
Yeah, exactly. And initially, like I've started with like my management team, the Willie Ezra Beaver Hills management team, and brought it to them. They were my first investment, and also I started a book club
Mm-hmm.
with the members of my management team, and it grew from there. And like we are now, we are where we are. Last year was a wonderful event. We had maybe up to about 500 people over the course of 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
This year, because we have more space, because we have access to the beautiful new library, Stetson Library.
Yep.
I mean, Diane Brown was very gracious in offering the full library for the Lit Fest, and then able to put vendors in the gym at the Q House. They were also, gracious enough to like offer allow us to use that. And then we're going to have the mobile stage with performances and entertainment in the plaza, in the Q House Plaza, so people could bring like their chairs and sit out there, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a photo booth. And also, I want to mention our theme this year is Afrofuturism, which is a great, since Black Panther came out.
Yep.
And all these other movies have been coming out. It's been like a whole movement of Afrofuturism about, how we envision ourselves in our culture and in maintaining our authenticity as we move forward in the future. And so we're encouraging people to come as their own superhero.
Yep. I think it's really important, and kudos to you for doing this. But the timing couldn't be better again, because there are a lot of forces working against us in our society where they're trying to suppress, our culture in certain aspects. You have books being eliminated from the school system. They're trying to erase our history. Things of that nature. So I think events like this, not just here in New Haven, but across the country, are really important. And people like you to spearhead these types of events are really important to keep the the movement alive, but keep the historical perspective alive, in addition to moving into the future. And I like that title, the theme for this year. That,
I mean, and it's important now more than ever, like you said,
absolutely.
with all our people trying to wipe out our literature, our writing, our history, our stories, and without even reading them.
Mm-hmm.
Like critical race theory is a statement that a professor made, and they just turned it into something negative. And
Yeah.
it's not about that. It's not about that. And there are more of us that need to know about our culture and be aware that there are like artists of all kinds
Mm-hmm.
that are maintaining their authenticity and maintaining our culture. It's important for us to know ourselves to move forward.
Well, the K in the Huck stands for knowledge. So we want to create or share the knowledge, but create the awareness. And the K also stands for the culture and
Yep.
culturally lit. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the lineup in terms of what's in the Q House in the events? Because you
Well,
got panel discussions, you have
right.
people moderating different topics, so to speak, authors coming through, etc.
Right. So the Q House will have all the vendors in the gym
Okay.
because they have their usual Q House programming. They'll be having their things. The main event stuff will be happening. The workshops and panels will be happening in the library, on the
Okay.
first floor of the library, beginning at 11:15. We're going to have the children's programming on the first floor. We're going to have several storytellers from a
Right.
Black author that has been with us every year of Lit Fest. I mean, a Black publishing house based in Hartford, Lauren Simone Publishing, Melissa
Okay.
John, and her daughters, Olivia and Lauren, started this. Her daughters had started writing books for other children, and then they started publishing it. And now they're like, they have a plethora, a whole
Nice.
lot of Black authors under their belt.
Nice.
And I encourage everybody to look up Olivia, what did I say? Lauren Simone Publishing.
Okay.
So there will be having storyteller, those people presenting their books, doing some storytelling. Then we're going to have and that begins at 11:15, and then at 12:15 we're going to have Iyaba Arts. Iyaba, I'm sorry, he might start about 1. Iyaba is a master storyteller and puppetry making. So he'll be doing a half hour of storytelling, like he does the Nancy stories and things like that. And then he's going to do a puppetry workshop.
Okay.
So, and that's going to be kind of limited to how many people. So people have to sign up.
Okay.
And then upstairs in the Stetson, at 12:30, if people are interested in writing a screenplay, Colton Harris, who works for the state of Connecticut, but he's also a filmmaker, a very dynamic young filmmaker. He'll be having a screenwriting workshop for an hour. And we will also have a conversation with Nizay James. Nizay has started a mobile book company, a mobile book store called By Any Means Necessary. And she'll be in conversation with Joel Thompson. Now, Joel Thompson has been is in the residency. He's a Black composer in residency with the New Haven Symphony Orchestra. He composed a symphony around James Baldwin's letter to Angela Davis, among his other works.
Yeah.
So the New Haven Symphony Orchestra, we're happy to say, is sponsoring that piece. Nice. And so they'll be in conversation, and then we'll have a conversation with another author that's based in New Haven that has internationally acclaimed books. His name is Toshi Onyebuchi, and he wrote he writes Afrofuturistic books. He's a Yale graduate, lived all over the world, and decided to come back and settle in New Haven. He's going to be in conversation with Juanita Austin, who designed a beautiful curator who designed our logo, our Afrofuturism logo, and our flyers. That stuff is like boom. Like she's also the producer. She's also the producer at International Festival of Arts and Ideas. But they're going to have a Afrofuturistic Black nerd kind of conversation. And everybody's books will be on sale too. Then we have our Femme panel. So it's like there's some dynamic young women that are from New Haven, the greater New Haven area, that do we'll have what's her name? Indigo. Indigo started 2 years ago a festival called Punk Noir, Black people doing punk. Right. And all that's diversity. That. And she will also be performing on the stage earlier in the day, but her these conversations upstairs in the session will start at 12:45. Okay. And then what else? We're gonna have a poet laureate panel. We have Black poet laureates in New Haven. Lisa Gray, our dear friend and author and visionary writer herself, our cousin friend, will be in conversation with Rhonda Ward, who is the first Black poet laureate of New London, and Frederick Douglass Knowles, who is also Hartford's poet laureate. So we don't have a New Haven public laureate yet, but that's on Culturally Lit's agenda. We're going to get a poet laureate too.
So pause right there for a second and explain what a poet laureate is. Because, in full transparency, my first connection with that was the young lady, and I forget her name, help me, that spoke at the inauguration. Oh,
you talking about Elizabeth Alexander?
No, was that
what inauguration? You talking about the presidents? Like President Obama had Elizabeth Alexander. She was
Biden's inauguration.
Biden's. God,
young Black girl.
Yeah, I can't think of her name.
But okay, so.
But anyway, a poet. I want to say. I don't have the full explanation of that either, but I want to say it's like a poet that represents the time of the culture of the space that they're
Right.
in. So right now, Connecticut also has a Black poet laureate named Antoinette Brim Bell.
It's a type of credential
It's a
in the world of
credential.
poetry. And
Yep.
it's a high level credential.
It's a high level credential.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
we have 2 Black poet laureates who are going to talk about what it's like to be that in a poet, and then have that bestowed upon you in a place that is as sterile as New England, in a New England state. Like, come on, New London and Hartford. And then in between there isn't one. So we about to change that. That's one of our.
Now, speaking of poet laureates, earlier this week, the opening of the NBA season happened, and Boston played Philadelphia, and Boston was honoring Bill Russell, and they had the Boston poet laureate speak some poetry.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Within the ceremony. Yeah. And
Wow.
by the way, did you know earlier this week was Black Poetry Day, National Black Poetry Day?
Yes, I did know that.
Okay. That was news to me. I do radio every morning, so I do national days, and I'm like, wow, we got a Black Poetry Day. So
yes, we do.
Okay.
So then with all that will be going on, and then we're gonna be outside. We're gonna have the mobile stage outside. So we're gonna have you're gonna be hosting.
It is.
We're gonna have DJ Prestige.
Okay.
On playing the music in between the acts, but we're gonna start with a performance by a young man named Jonathan Moore. And Jonathan plays a cello, and he plays a soul cello. Like this young man, he's in his 20s. He does some great things with the cello. And then we're going to have Queen Obsidian Rain, who is also part of our Femissance panel in the Stetson. She's a poet, performer. Indigo will be also performing. She's going to be doing a little punk, a little poetry. And then another sister, Tamani Rain, out of Waterbury, who's a very good poet. And then a performance by Erica Ortiz. Erica does a lot of movement and singing as well. And another poet, Osho, and a performance by Tyler Goldchain. Osho and Tyler Goldchain combine things. Tyler Goldchain is a musician. He'll have his drums. He'll have a keyboard. He does combination of things. He's like a one-man band, but he's very soulful. And everybody will be doing things in the spirit of Afrofuturism and what that is. And then we will also have, for those people that are coming in costume, a cosplay like fashion show, so people could walk up and show off their thing,
Okay.
There will be food vendors. We got some food trucks that are going to be across the street in the old Dixon Plaza.
Okay.
Parked over there in the parking lot, so people just cross the street, get some food, come back, or in the Cornell Sky Hill Health Center will be there with their vaccination van.
Okay.
If people want to do that. Yep. Health and wellness. NAACP, I believe they're going to be doing a voter registration table, probably be between 12 and 3.
Okay.
Because in a couple of weeks we got to vote. We got a registration coming up.
Midterm
that is
elections.
Part of our future. We got to take part in every piece of our future. So yes, so that's all part of the Afrofuturism, and it's family friendly. Everything is family friendly. So you pick and choose. Oh, I can't forget. We're gonna have and on top of the photo booths where you could be taking pictures, your superhero pictures.
That's a thing.
That's the thing. We will have mask making for anybody.
Okay.
So inside the library, and there's a make space room. There'll be 2 artists in there, Bianca K and Marshoon, and they will have plenty of masks. People can decorate their own masks. We got to think about how we are empowering ourselves. We're going to be our own superheroes.
A chance for us to be creative.
A chance for us to be creative.
And express ourselves. And I think that's important. As you were going through the list of things and everybody that's going to be participating, I'm thinking if it weren't for events like this and people like you behind these events, a lot of these artists or people that are involved in different capacities would not get the exposure to our community.
No, they
You know what I
wouldn't.
mean? So, I feel that this is really important for the community, as an outlet for us to express ourselves, but also to give people within our community that wouldn't ordinarily have a platform to showcase their talent, whatever it may be, as it relates to this. It's important to give them that platform, here.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of these are people are working artists. They
Hmm.
literally are working in their art. They are maintaining and doing it, and like a lot of them do a lot of work outside of our town,
Yeah.
outside of our city. And I like to encourage people as they think of their galas or
Hmm.
their programs, their church programs, or whatever, their social club programs, or whatever. When you want to have a different component, to hire one of these artists, because I do want to say I am fortunate enough. I write some grants
Hmm.
to get the money to pay all the participants for their time,
Right.
because that is important. It is a vocation. They take time to practice, they take time to create this stuff, and I am all for that. Ife means love of culture and
Yeah.
love of creativity. So that's why I took that name on, and that's what I'm living out. We do this.
And that's important too. That might be another, event when it comes to grant writing, because if it weren't for funding from the grants, but you have to have the knowledge and and know that there's money out there and how to access it in order to, put these and other types of events on.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm so grateful for New Haven Arts and Culture, Department of Arts and Culture and Tourism, to the Arts Council Greater New Haven, the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven, the Prosperity Fund, which was started by oh Lord, has a funeral home.
Howard K. Hill.
Howard K. Hill
Yeah.
and a few others,
Yeah.
Kathy Graves, among other people,
Mhm.
that they create they're creating a fund for people to endow for ourselves, and they
Right.
put back in our community. In the State Department of Connecticut Humanities, all these were part of giving,
Mhm.
contributing to making Lit Fest happen, and our other programming as well. We also had contributions. There's a Giving Tuesday that happens in May and
Yep.
December,
Yep.
and we had some great contributions from there. And it's always, we have a link on our website, culturallylit.org. If you give $5, if you get whatever you could give, you
Every
know,
little bit helps.
every little bit helps, because
It
they
takes a
get
village.
it takes a village.
A combination of things. Now, outside of Elm City Lit Fest, by the way, which again, if you're just tuning in to this video, it's happening Saturday, October 20. What day?
Second,
22nd. Um, Dixwell
10,
Avenue.
22, 22.
Yeah, thank you.
11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Dixwell Avenue in front of the Q House, Dixwell Plaza, and then at the Stetson Library, which is within the Q House. Now you do some other
There's
events.
three separate entities. There's two separate entities.
Oh,
The on Foot Street side is Stetson. On the other side, on the Dixwell side, is the
it's
Q
the Q
House.
House.
So
Okay.
we want to be very clear that they are three entities that share a building, because the
Okay.
Hill Health Center is somewhere in there too.
Then across the street in the Dixwell Plaza. Now you do some events throughout the year too. You did a Black comic book festival earlier this year.
Yes, we did a Diaspora Con, April 24th at Quinnipiac University, and that was a conference um, to cultivate awareness about the opportunities in the industry
Mhm.
of comic books and graphic novels. Again, with the onset of all these superhero movies coming out, with
Yep.
Black Panther, The Woman King, Black Panther 2, Dark Ant. What is it? What is he in? Dark Adam, something
Dark.
like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Something Black Adam, Dark Adam, whatever it is. All these movies, the special effects. I want people to think about this. When you have your child sitting up there doodling, don't discourage them.
Yeah.
There's a big boom in Hollywood, and what want people to think about too is, during the time we were shut in for COVID, you know, it was a lot of Netflixing. It was a lot of, cable companies went up because we didn't have nothing else to do, and we had to do things with technology, and a lot of people's creativity came out, And there are opportunities galore in the graphic and comic book industry, and just like, yeah, creatives all around.
And that industry, unbeknownst to a lot of people, I would still venture to say, is big and it's growing. So again, there are a lot of offshoots from this event in different directions, tentacles, I would say, that could lead to income producing opportunities, and for people that have that creative juice flowing through their veins to be able to express themselves, but also make money. And there's a lot of money out there to be made, but we just need to bring the awareness that there are opportunities in certain fields that people can take advantage of, as opposed to just doing it at home. Because there are a lot of creative people in our community. And again, I say this type of event is, I'm glad that it's happening, because it gives those people a platform to get the exposure and get known that could lead to, some bigger and better things.
Absolutely.
So are you doing the Black Diaspora again? Comic Book Festival next year?
We are doing Diaspora Con again. We don't have a date yet, and I'm connecting with Quinnipiac about that.
Okay.
And we are also we will also be having, because in addition to Lit Fest and being on the board and a literacy volunteer, I am a judge for the Connecticut Book Awards for the past couple of years in the fiction category. It's an honor to do that. I have to read a lot of books over the summer, and assess them and all that, and they get an award from the Connecticut Humanities and the Connecticut Center for the Book. Next, at the beginning of the year, next year, we're going to start a Diaspora Book Awards for emerging writers of the African diaspora. So we'll look out for more information for that in the months to come.
And I think writing, everybody has it in them. You may not think you're a writer, but I think everybody has a story in some capacity based on their experience, based on their life, that, if you know how to take it from your mind and put the pen to paper and have somebody guide you through the process, because, you may not be a book writer, but you have some knowledge up in your brain, in your sphere, that, can make for a good story. And everything is about storytelling these days. That's what a book is. It's storytelling, whether it's fictional or based on reality or loosely based on reality. So I think, I encourage, and I'm in the process of, I have a few concepts in my head, and, I began writing a couple of years ago. So I'm working on coming out, not with just one, but a few, not novels, but books that, share some stories in my head.
And I want to encourage people, because like I said, Lauren Simone Publishing is in Hartford. They started out with children's book, but now they publish everybody. They have editors on staff. They have she's like blowing up. I'm so proud of her and her company. And so I encourage anybody that's writing a book to connect with her, because people want to go to the big companies and all that. But, and of course, a lot of folks go on Amazon. But it's about distribution. It's about getting your face out there, and that works.
It's about developing relationships too. So if for anything else, come out for the experience of what's going to happen. But if you're any way associated, directly or indirectly, even on the bubble, come out and, forge some relationships that could, lead to some future, opportunities for you. So, and opportunities, they sometimes pass us by. Sometimes we don't know about them, but you got to be in the know, and you got to be, a participant in events like this in order to figure them out. So I'm glad it's happening, sis. This Saturday, October 22nd, 10/22/22. I see it's in my mind now. I'm not going to forget it. Elm City Lit Fest.
We're going to have good weather. It's going to be a nice day. And everybody come out being your own superhero in costume, however that is for you. However that is for you. It don't have to be all out, you ain't no darkness though. We want light.
Positive energy.
Positive energy. You know, I know it's
Be
close to
creative in a
Halloween.
positive way.
It's close to Halloween. People want to bring out their
No,
whatever.
well,
Nope,
this is not a Halloween event. This is a
it's not a
cultural
Halloween
event.
event.
So, let's make that distinction right now, and please, everybody, follow that. But I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to hosting the stage. I'm excited. My second year in doing it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And every year it gets bigger. First year, COVID happened, so you had to do it virtually.
Yeah.
Second year, COVID was still lingering around a little more than today. It's still out here, but last year was the first time it was in person. So I was, honored to be a part of that. And then this year, even bigger and better, less COVID, but still take precaution because it's still in them streets. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Always be cautious.
And we do have a registration link on our website, culturallylit.org, for the workshops, because we don't want to get the library over capacity and have everybody breathing on top of each other, and pick and choose what you want to do. Pick and choose what you want to do over the course of the day. Even if you stop through for an hour or so, it's fine. Come through and enjoy yourself.
And let me put this out there too. Please bring the kids. Let's expose.
It is family. It's for everybody.
Yeah. But I think it's family friendly. But I think a lot of times, we kind of discount our kids and bring them to events like this. I think this is the perfect event to get our youth exposed to the culture and opportunities that they may not ordinarily see in the traditional system that we call the educational system.
And lit, all the lit.
Yes, exactly.
Because there'll be people selling all kinds of things, but we want the books to be the focus.
Exactly.
The literacy.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me tonight on this edition of What the Huck. Always good to talk to my sister, cousin, sister, Ife Michelle. We go way back.
Since birth.
Yeah, basically. Braiding hair and everything.
I know, right?
Those were the days. But so far we've come, and I'm glad to be a part of what you're doing. So this is good for the New Haven community. If you're anywhere near New Haven, anywhere in the state of Connecticut this weekend, come on down, be a part of this amazing event. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed in the information and the entertainment and the culture that we're going to share this weekend. So Elm City Lit Fest, Saturday, 10/22/22, theculturallylit.org, where you get the information, register for those panel discussions.
And if you got things to sell, get on our website as well. We got a vendor thing. We're accepting it. We want to fill up the gym with the vendors. So if you want to sell stuff, come on, be a vendor.
Let's make it happen.
Right. Thank you, Daryl.
I appreciate it. Another edition of What the Huck in the books.